Hello, welcome to the Sea of Fortune, everyone. Or as it very often happens to be for us, the Sea of Misfortune. We are in the Ibuki today. We are still trying to max out and unlock all the, upgrades for the ship. So, still playing through, still chugging through. I feel like I like the Suja better, the Tier 7 premium version of this ship, but that's kind of my go-to when I need to earn some quick cash. We play the Suja, because that kind of works pretty well for our playstyle. But since we are a cruiser in all glorious cruiser fashion, you can get deleted from the game pretty quick by battleships, and there's a lot of them in this match, right? So we will tuck in behind this island right by sea, and see if we can't light some fires, right? Because these Japanese cruisers have a little bit of a perk when it comes to their high explosives, right? I think it's like either the fires burn longer, last longer, or have higher chance, or something like that. So we of course have outfitted the commander to kind of accent that, to buff that as best we can. So anything having to do with range, accuracy, and HU shells, we've kind of picked those commander perks, right? So we get spotted. I think this little crevice, this little dip right here in between these two little chunks of land here, sometimes you can get spotted by being right in between it. So we backed up a little bit, and that takes us out of being spotted, and we're free to unload on this turret. So we're trying to get a little more broadside so we can get these rear turrets around and fire too. And of course he's coming in hard, so I'm imagining he's going to get picked on by the rest of our team also, but it's not going to stop us from firing bullets at him, right? He's the only guy in range. Our guns are already pointed this way. You don't want to do too much work in this, right? Also going to be able to keep him from getting any sort of zone capture on that. Sometimes it's just kind of silly to be in the zone. If you're taking hits, it's not worth trying to muscle your way through capping the zone, because every hit you take is going to reset, the zone capture, right? So unless you've got a destroyer or somebody in there helping you cap it, it's not worth it, unless you're backing somebody else up. But yeah, so we get another fire on him, probably just as the first one burned out, right? I'm not really quite sure why he's saving his damage con so much. I mean, a lot of people have use fight fire with fire for their legendary perk on battleships and stuff like that, but there's no destroyers here, right? So, I mean, he has a pretty good idea. We're over here, and where all the other battleships are right on this side, so it's not like there's a secret hidden destroyer that's going to trigger floods on him, but you do you. But yeah, he just keeps pressing forward. So this is like your kind of typical, like, why you shouldn't be so aggressive, no matter what ship type you are. Even if you are a German battleship, it's got torpedoes and awesome secondary battery, right? Like, you're not gonna, if you just YOLO push right into the zone, and like you're not gonna get far enough to be able to use those tools in your tool belt, right? So, trying to see if we can get some cheap shots on this Congress, but the reticle's telling me we're gonna hit the island, right? I don't want to put myself out there too much just yet. There are still 3 battleships that are probably in range of being able to shoot me, so and you know how battleships go when you play as a cruiser. The second they see a cruiser, they all immediately stop what they're doing, turn their guns towards the cruiser, right? So we will play on the conservative side for the time being, right? So this ship does have some pretty awesome long-range torpedoes. The downside is the firing angle's bad on it. Like, you kind of have to be almost completely broadside, and or the enemies need to be behind you, right? So that's why we're not trying too hard to get in a position to fire torpedoes, because it would kind of make us vulnerable. We'd probably get spotted from doing so. But your guns are still kind of your main source of doing damage to ships, right? Your guns and triggering fires, right? This Iowa doesn't look like he's ever had a fire on in this game, so he needs some action. This is the other kind of strategy I like to do with this ship. A lot of folks, and it works with these Japanese cruisers the best, right? But I like to kind of mix it up, right? So I'll shoot at multiple ships and trigger fires that I'm triggering damage cons, and that really helps out the team too, because anybody else triggering any sort of damage over time, like floods and fires, you know, those ships aren't going to have their damage cons, right? And then if we go back to a ship that's already used theirs, then we've got that kind of permanent fire that's going to burn for, you know, however long it lasts for their ship and our ship, you know, like that kind of thing, right? So that's why you see me switching ships quite often and who I'm shooting, and it's also going to just, you know, as opposed to just picking on one. It's a different strategy with, you know, different ships. You know, like a lot of the American cruisers, you know, if I trigger a fire, a lot of times I'm switching back to AP. You know, it just all depends on the, and then I'm picking on that, you know, I'm picking on one ship the whole time too, right? But I'm switching between the two a little bit more often than you see me doing with these Japanese cruisers, just because this is where their strength lies, right? Their strength lies in triggering fires and the amount of fire damage you can do. So that's kind of why you see me play this ship this way. It's kind of my playstyle preference as well, right? But yeah, if we get good broadside shots, especially on other cruisers, we will absolutely switch to AP shells because, you know, it's not to be ignored, right? The right tool for the job, right? Amagi, here's a new one, doesn't have any fires on him, so we're going to pick on him. That Congress is burning pretty good for us. We're already up to 100,000 damage in this game, and a lot of that's due to the 7 fires, a lot of which have probably burned completely the way through, right? So, and we get one on the Amagi. Iowa's a little concerning. I don't want to be spotted, because he will definitely shoot us, and it always hurts when I get hit by an Iowa. But we've got quite a few of their battleships in retreat, all because of me, right? My teammates that are right next to me have done nothing. No, just kidding. Yes, this team, we do get matched with a decent team here, and, you know, it's not just about me. We know this. It's not just about me. It's mostly about me. Yes, Iowa, we got him burning pretty good down there. He's going to put those fires out. We're going to look for a new target here. I'm wanting to be a little bit more risky here since we don't have a lot to shoot at. These guys, these battleships over here are really kind of tucked away. But we're not just going to YOLO push out into the zone. That will end us quite quickly. You saw what happened to the Turpits on their team, right? Well, we're not going to recreate that. We'll go down much faster being a cruiser, right? Good show. That Vanguard get a shot off at us? Still haven't taken any damage. 129,000 done and 0 taken, right? We're doing cruiser correctly. His airplane too, you know, I'm putting that up when there's ships that aren't spotted. You can occasionally get the spot from the air. I think a lot of these guys are probably too far away though. And if he looks like he's gonna sit still, I'm just gonna keep firing. Like there's literally nobody else spotted right now, and we've got the upper hand zone-wise. I know the score kind of looks even still, and we're down a ship. But, you know, for the most part, right now, I don't feel the need to press in and kind of risk my ship trying to get a zone. I know the other guys on my team here are thinking the same thing, probably. You know, like if I go in, I'm going to get teamed up on, right? So we've got the one zone over at A, so points are going to gradually tick in our favor. So we're really, you know, we really aren't forced into having to make a move here, right? You know, sometimes it's like, okay, if we're down like 2 zones, like we got to make a change happen here, right? Like I'm not in that situation. So we don't have to be risky to win this game right now, so I'm not going to be. And like, just as I say that too, like the Samagi, like it was out further out than I expected. But you can see, so I'm keeping an eye on where our spotting range is right now, and so the, you know, the blue circle on the mini map. So we're not spotted right now. So I'm kind of thinking like, if he doesn't press forward, I could sneak in and cap this zone and just not fire my guns, and I won't get spotted. But it looks like he's starting to move in, so we're gonna turn away. And then if he keeps pressing, this is where we'll be able to dump some torpedoes at him, right? So if he maintains this kind of trajectory or heads back towards the zone, you know, we won't send both racks in the same direction, and that's intentional because if you know if one's gonna hit, then the other one's not gonna, right? You know, I'd rather have at least one torpedo hit than none, right? So, and then the other thing too, if we trigger flood, you know, since we're spamming fire a lot, we'll be able to, you know, if they use their damage con, we'll be able to trigger a fire, and that should last, right? So, we get spotted. This Iowa looks like he's eyeballing us, so we're gonna turn hard away from him in case we see bullets from him. And it managed to also help us dodge some of these other bullets from this Amagi and these other battleships that are out there, right? So we'll keep firing on them. We got decent range with this ship. Like I said, we've kind of outfitted the commander for range, accuracy, and then HE shells. I've kind of prioritized, you know, based on my playstyle. I like having decent range with these ships because they don't do that great up close, right? You don't have fast turning turrets. The turrets move kind of slow. You're kind of weak when it comes to getting hit in the side, so yeah, you know. So this is kind of how we typically play with this ship. It does do pretty decent out in open water. You know, the other thing you'll see me do with some of these Japanese cruisers is kind of stick my butt towards the zone and just kind of wiggle it, shake it at the enemy as we send torpedoes off the back of the boat into the zone, and then fireballs towards people, and then you can kind of, as you're ducking and weaving, you can typically, even with battleships, you can dodge a lot of their bullets if you're paying attention to where they're coming from, right? So occasionally you get your butt kicked, but sometimes it's a fun strategy, right? So 150,000 damage with, I don't think we used AP at all yet. Still trying to decide if I can sneak into this zone or not, since these two battleships, the Iowa and the Amagi, are kind of outside on the map. I might, if I can sneak in close to these islands off to my left, they won't be able to shoot me, right? So paying attention to this Vanguard and this other battleship that kind of aren't paying attention to us. But yeah, looks like we might be able to sneak in here, and then we'll have cover from those two battleships. I keep forgetting about this Riga though. This guy's gonna probably be the pain in the butt, right? He's just sitting still, no smoke coming out of his smokestack, so we'll take advantage of that. If he's the only one paying attention to us, I guess we'll shoot at him, right? And we pop the high caliber there, doing lots of damage to lots of enemies, right? And then we get a wither right after. Is this Riga, like, is he like AFK? Like, yeah. Might be. We'll take this shot. There's the Confederate too, as we burn all of our enemies at the same time. Multiple fires going on multiple ships. Our Eva plan is working. This Lepanto needs to go quick though, because he's got some big guns that can probably just go right through us. Lepanto, that's the newer-ish Tier 8 along the regular tech tree for the Italian battleships, right? So we're calling out, like, help, please, somebody murder this guy. They've got really good secondary battery range, right? So, and we were angled really, really well when he took that main battery shot. And then we're also backing away from him too, right? There's no point in trying to man it out in the zone. We're not making any progress on getting it capped while he's hitting us with secondary and main batteries, right? So wait till he goes down. We give our allies a good thank you very much, right? So, and then we'll move back into the zone to try and get the cap here. And as you can see, the zone that we held over at A, I wasn't paying too much attention to when it got taken back over, but then our team also got B too, right? So having those zones paid off for us, and we're up on points even though we're down on ships, right? So this is kind of turns into an interesting game, and I think a lot of the mistakes here were by the enemy team are these battleships that Iowa and that Amagi that just stayed way back in the zone, right? So I took advantage of the fact that they were far away and behind cover, and I'm sitting in here, you know, working the other side of the map while I'm capturing the zone on this side of the map, right? So multitasking is really paying off for us here. Vanguard's going to go down from torpedoes from that Plymouth. Nice job, guys. Nice job. So there's only 30 seconds left in the game, too. So because we're up on points, I mean, you definitely, you know, if the points were a little closer, you'd want to make sure you don't die, right? Because that could flip I could turn the tables very quickly, right? You lose a couple of ships here and there right at the last second, but we'll get the zone cap here, and that pretty much solidifies the win for us. Stay tuned. We will look and see where we end up on the leaderboard for this one, right? Like, see how that goes. Suspense is killing me. I hope it's killing you too. No, I mean, you know what I mean. So I think I wasn't even paying attention to how much time was left, and I'm like, oh man, I should get, a torpedo angle on this anchorage who's at full health. Like, what were you doing that whole time, buddy? Yeah, so Wither our Confederate high caliber popped there, so that'll probably put us near the top, if not at the top. There we go, 2700 XP, that's not half bad. Hoping to have a better game with this ship, because I feel like I do fairly well with it for the most part. Like I said, I have a little bit more success with the Suja at the tier 7 level, right? And then we always make like a $500,000 in credits with the Suja, and here we've got 207,000. So that's a tough gig, right? We're just not making a lot of credits. We'll go through quick how we have the commander set up for this one. Mr. Scrooge. Oh yeah, no. So we're still so close to unlocking that last slot there, right? Yeah, this is really Yumamato, right? That's Mr. Scrooge is the commander, guys, right? So cruiser main battery shell grouping, cruiser main battery gun, HE shell damage, right? So, and then of course the base trait for him is AP shell damage, which we don't utilize that much, but chances of HE shell causing fire, chances of cruiser HE shell causing fire, and then we go with the defensive perk here just because we don't use the AP shells very much. And then, shell grouping and dispersion. And I almost always am using fully packed for cruisers, but, you do you. Some people, the refill station is also very good, right? So, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm trying to do a World of Warships video every day, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and only like the video if you actually liked the video. All right? Thanks for watching.